son of Jenova, will at last claim my birthright. My dominion shall reach into infinity. It shall encompass worlds unbound by fate, and histories unwritten.
What do you mean?
My fragmented mother, these errant worlds, all shall be one again.
The reunion.
All made whole forever.
There's no such thing as forever.
But there will be.
Good day to all, I hope you're all doing well. So I just thought I'd make this video as sort of like a pseudo follow-up part 3 to the Jenova Sephiroth thing I've been doing over the last week. But this one's going to be a little bit different, as it's going to be highlighting the new lore that has become available to us about the Gi tribe since Rebirth has been out, and how they're seemingly now making the Gi tribe have this ancient connection with the Black Materia, and they also may be the reason for its very existence. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at all of that new lore, and how that new lore ties the Black Materia in with the Gi tribe and Jenova and Sephiroth. Because even straight out the box, those three things have got one thing in common: none of them came from the lifestream. As they are all alien life forms to the world of Gaia, this means they cannot be dissolved into the lifestream, nor return to the planet. And actually, speaking of non-life form objects like the Black Materia, that I don't think can be dissolved in the lifestream, there's one other thing I've not seen many people talking about. I think I've got a pretty good theory about it. It's Sephiroth's sword, Masamune. Remember, when Cloud chucks him and Jenova's head into the lifestream, he actually throws the sword in it along with him, but we see the sword return later in Midgar and the rest of the game when we see him wielding it, even in the original. And although we never got an answer as to why that is, we did just recently get Ever Crisis First Soldier to answer quite a lot of questions about Sephiroth's youth. But I will leave you guys to either go and watch or play the First Soldier in order for you to get all the story details for yourself. But the only thing you need to know from my next point is that they never reveal what Masamune is actually made of, what metal or alloy it's made from. And I think the reason why they don't fully answer that question, and the reason why Masamune has always been tied to Sephiroth in such a meaningful way, is because I think it was made from the material of Jenova's meteorite. You see, not only would that explain Sephiroth's deep connection with the blade, but it would also explain why we're still dealing with the Masamune blade alongside Sephiroth and Jenova herself in the remake series all these years later. It's because, just like how Jenova is an alien object, or an alien life form in her case, and cannot be dissolved in the life stream, then it also stands to reason that the meteorite she came on would also not be able to be dissolved into the life stream and return to the planet. Oh yeah, and the reason for why it's such an overly long Adachi blade is because the damn sword is literally alive and can grow and shrink into whatever size that it needs to be for the user. And it seems like Sephiroth has just set that setting to the max and kept it there for the whole time. To be honest, I kind of respect it. I'd do that same thing, to be honest. Anyway, let's move on. And also, actually, one last point, sort of in favour of my theory of Masamune being made from Jenova's meteorite, is that for those of you that have watched or seen Game of Thrones or read the A Song of Ice and Fire series of books, you'll know that there's a family in that series called House Dane. And House Dane has a ancestral sword that is bestowed to basically a special knight who is called the Sword of the Morning, and they are bestowed with the ancestral sword called Dawn. And this sword is special because it is made from the alloy of a fallen meteorite. And I know it's not the same series, but I still thought it was pretty cool to have another example of a sword being forged from a meteorite and then bestowed upon someone with an almost chosen one-like status. Anyhow, back on topic with Final Fantasy, of course. I guess if none of those facts will make you believe that the sword is actually alive and got a little bit of Jenova inside of it, or at least her meteorite, just because Square Enix have not come out and confirmed it yet, then I don't know what else is going to convince you. So, yeah, let's move on. You see, in the original Final Fantasy VII, back from 1997, the Black Materia was a legendary relic of the Cetra that they had sealed away in the Temple of the Ancients, but we didn't know the reason why at the time. But I think that Rebirth uncovers that reason. They have just dropped a massive amount of lore in this recent game, and I think a lot of it is sort of flown over people's heads. And I don't blame any of you for that, to be completely honest. It went over my head the first time as well, but either way, let's get to it and I'll explain what I mean. So straight off the bat, the biggest lore bomb that they dropped for us was that the Black Materia was not an ancient relic of the Cetra, and it in fact was stolen by them. I should have thought about it, to be fair. Think about it. All the regular materia that we see throughout the game, whether it's just regular used ones or massive materia later in the game, they all come from the lifestream. But it would stand to reason that the Black Materia simply does not, and therefore it was not made by the Cetra. They stole it from the Gi. And I think I know the exact reason why. Think about it. The ancients stole the Black Materia from the Gi and then sealed it away in a temple. And even throughout the temple in Rebirth, we get loads of different hologram warnings from the Cetra saying about what effort they went through in order to seal this Black Materia away. And I think the reason why they went through such an effort to seal it away is because the Gi actually were able to utilize it. Not only did they create it through their malice, they also managed to use it, just like Sephiroth did, and summoned a meteor. But this one, the Cetra were able to intercept beforehand. And that is where I think Jenova originally came from. She was the meteorite that was summoned by the Gi. That's why the Cetra went through such an effort in order to seal the Black Materia away, because they knew that not only did it represent the destructive power of the meteorite itself, but it could also bring something else with it that has caused terror to the planet since the moment it arrived. Come on, it cannot be a coincidence that thousands of years ago, one after the other, the Cetra had to kill off the Gi and all the rest of their tribe, deal with what happened with Jenova, and seal away a Black Materia. What other reason would they have to deal with all three of those conflicts one after the other, if not all of those conflicts being linked to each other, if you get what I mean? Okay, so it turns out that the ultimate weapon of destruction was forged by the Gi, an alien race trapped in a horrific state of undeath. But the deeper you look at their story and their history, the more you realize the Gi aren't just a side quest. They are the structural blueprint for everything Jenova and Sephiroth are trying to do. You see, for decades we thought Jenova was the only alien on Gaia, but Rebirth changes that. The Gi arrived on this planet many millennia ago, but here's the real tragedy. Because they aren't of this world, they aren't part of the lifestream. When a being born of Gaia dies, they return to the planet, we all know this. But when a Gi dies, the lifestream rejects them. They are stuck as rotting sentient ghosts for all of eternity. You see, the Gi created the Black Materia not to rule over the world like Sephiroth wanted to do with it, but to destroy it. They wanted to summon Meteor to wipe out the planet entirely, hoping that if Gaia died, their spirits would finally be released from purgatory. You see, this is where the connection to Jenova gets really eerie. Think about the Calamity from the Skies moniker that's usually applied to her. Think about it. The method is that Jenova arrives on a meteor to wound the planet. The Black Materia's sole purpose is to summon a meteor to wound the planet. The motivation behind this is that the Gi are outsiders who want the planet to end so that they can escape. Jenova is also an outsider who wants the planet to end so she can feed. Plus, think about the regular materia that we use in-game. It's described as the knowledge of the ancients and a condensed form of the lifestream that can be used in battle. But the Black Materia is described as being made of the Gi's pain and spite. It is a corruption of that natural energy, exactly how the lifestream views Jenova cells, don't you think? So you see, many fans now believe that the Gi and Jenova might be from the same corner of the cosmos. If Jenova steers planets like a vessel, it's possible that the Gi were the original inhabitants of a world that Jenova has already consumed, hitching a ride on the same meteor that eventually struck Gaia. And if that turns out to be completely true, then I'm going to be so happy, because I've had a theory for years that if any of you guys have played Dirge of Cerberus, you know what the Omega weapon is. For those of you that don't know, it is the planet's final weapon, and when the planet's about to be destroyed, its objective is to suck up all the remaining life stream and fuck off into the cosmos to find a new planet to inhabit. And save as much life as possible, basically. Do you not think that that sounds exactly like what Jenova does? Absorbs, or that's what would have happened if her and Sephiroth managed to fulfill their plan. They would have struck the meteor into the planet, absorbed all of the life stream that they could, except rather than using it to travel the cosmos and find another planet, he was instead going to use it to rule over the planet. But what I think Jenova originally was a weapon from another planet, and their planet faced a disaster, so Jenova sucked up as much of the life stream as it could from that planet and took it away to hopefully find another planet. But I think that it is definitely possible that that theory is correct, because like I said, in the original, if Sephiroth would have fulfilled his plan, he would have struck the meteor into the Earth, been at the center of that destruction to absorb as much of the life stream into himself as possible. If you ask me, that almost sounds like the Omega weapon's objective, and also sounds like exactly what Jenova does. So I think that Sephiroth, although he wanted to rule the world, I think he was still being puppeted by Jenova to achieve her original directive. Find a new world, absorb it, and move on to the next one. However, if that plan was to get stopped, like it did in the original FF7, then Jenova has a secondary plan, as we know from Advent Children. The Geostigma curse is in itself one of the most interesting things, I think, about Jenova and her virus and the Black Materia, is that even after we defeated her, there was still remnants of her and Sephiroth in the life stream, and they were causing the planet to essentially have a cancer, and that's why there was so many people suffering with geostigma and Advent Children. I don't know if any of you guys have read the book that bridges between Advent Children and the original FF7. It's called On the Way to a Smile. There are parts in this book that are called, that basically that go away from the actual story of the book that they're trying to portray, and basically give you a rundown on how Sephiroth and Aerith are doing in the live stream after the events of the original FF7 has concluded. It's really, really interesting. It's called Livestream Black and Livestream White. I will put some of the pictures from those passages on the screen for you guys now, so then those of you that haven't read the book can at least get a little bit of an idea for what's going on. But remember, the compilation was released years and years ago now, in my childhood, 2006, and to be honest, they are basically telling us that with what they wrote in this book, On the Way to a Smile, they've basically confirmed that they've had this idea in mind for a good amount of time now, to be completely honest. I mean, they sort of hinted towards it during the events of the original FF7, and then they fully went in for the cancerous geostigma aspect of the life stream being polluted with Jenova, because I do think that's something that needs to be touched on a lot more in part 3, so that rather than these just being theories and connections between the Black Materia and Jenova, we'll actually get some solid answers come part 3, I hope. So, to round out what we know, while the Gi and Jenova arrived at different times in the world, the Gi many millennia ago, and Jenova was reported to have hit the Earth 2,000 years ago. they still share an identical and mechanical role within the story. Just like the Gi, Jenova is an outsider. The lifestream cannot break her down or recycle her. This is why she, and Sephiroth, can persist after physical death. Jenova arrived via a meteor to create a wound in the planet, and the Black Materia is a tool specifically designed to repeat that event. And also, one of my favourite theories that I've got at the moment in regards to the Black Materia is that rather than it acting like a traditional materia that summons a spell, so rather than it summoning Meteor, I think that instead it acts more like a beacon. So when the Gi used it all those years ago, it beaconed Jenova to come and destroy the planet, or attempt to destroy the planet rather. And then when Sephiroth uses it all those years later, he's simply repeating the same process and beaconing towards another life form to come and destroy Gaia. You see what I mean? By Sephiroth using the Gi's weapon to summon the meteor, he isn't just causing a physical explosion that hurts the planet. He is doing that, but he is also reenacting the very calamity that brought his mother into the world in the first place. And you know what? I think this cycle has been repeating over and over and over again for literally hundreds of thousands of years, because I can almost guarantee that the Black Materia, and also the White Materia alongside it, of course, probably stretch back in time as far as the life stream itself does. And now we know that that very life stream is not just branched throughout our own world, and it now stretches and bleeds into other realities. I think that they're now setting up that the Black Materia and the White Materia have some functionalities that we have not been made aware of yet, that will impact not just our own world, but all of these other realities alongside it. And the reason I think that is that one of these brilliant minds that worked on the game actually came out in an interview recently and said that in Part 1 remake, when Cloud was getting all those visions of the future, like Aerith at the Forgotten Capital, and even some from Advent Children and shit like that, they were literally being shown to him by the White Materia. Like, you can literally go back to Remake and see that any scene that you can find where Cloud is having one of those memory glitches where he gets shown a vision from the future, the White Materia will be in that very cutscene, or at least in the same shot as him. Like, the first one you get is when he meets Aerith at the church. He wakes up, has a little talk with her, and then as she turns her hair to show him her ribbon and the White Materia within it, that's when he has his first memory glitch, and that persists throughout the rest of the game in Remake. Anytime Cloud has a memory glitch, the White Materia is within the same scene as him. So think about it. If the White Materia possesses a power so strong that it was literally able to allow Cloud to stop Aerith from dying in at least one timeline or another, but we won't get into that now. And bearing in mind that the White Materia granted Cloud that vision just from him being around it, not even utilizing it in the way that Aerith does. So if the White Materia can do that, it only stands to reason that the Black Materia will also have some extra unknown abilities that we are unaware of at this point in time. I mean, come on, Sephiroth basically confirms that the Black Materia has got another use to it, with the way that he talks about the convergence of worlds. But unfortunately, just like Cloud and the rest of the party, we are unaware of what that means at this moment in time. Well, at least not fully aware, and we won't be until Part 3 comes out. And with how much Cloud has been losing his mind throughout the events of this game, I am pretty certain that going forward, if the White Materia could do what it did to him just from being around him, can you imagine what sort of state he's going to be in Part 3, now that he literally has the Black Materia in his damn Buster Sword? But never fear, as much as I may not have the answers for you now, I am almost certain that in Part 3, now that we'll get to see the Black and White Materia at their full strength and using all of their abilities, I'm sure that will help provide a valid answer as to why throughout nearly 3 decades, Jenova, Sephiroth, the Gi, and the Black Materia have been linked together by all of these different weird points. And I'm sure that in part 3, alongside answering all the rest of the timey-wimey questions that we'll have about the remake series, but I'm sure that it will also serve to answer why all of the things that we've spoke about in this video have been connected together, be it through the live stream or through their lack of access to the live stream or lack of willingness to dissolve within it in the case of Sephiroth. And I'm hopeful that we will finally get an answer to the question of why for us salvation lies within the white materia and its power of holy, but for the Gi, their salvation lies within the power of the black materia and the power of the destructive meteor. And think about it, although both mean salvation to one specific group of people or the other, the white materia for the humans and the black materia for the Gi, they both provide salvation, but at the cost of being detrimental to the other group of people. Think Meteor's the obvious one. That is their salvation for the Gi, but it destroys all life on the planet of Gaia. But then the white materia, it stops that destructive power, therefore stopping the Gi from finally getting their release from the world and forever imprisoning them on Gaia, but with no access to the life stream. So the only way that they can gain access to their salvation is by destroying the salvation of others. Okay, brilliant. Right, thank you all very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it if you stuck all the way through to the end. That concludes my Jenova and Sephiroth series. This video was a little bit different, of course, because this one more focuses on things that are related to Jenova and Sephiroth within the Gi, the Black Materia, and all that. And I just thought it would make a lot more sense that rather than making separate videos on each topic, I just put all my theories together in one big massive part 3 and essentially just throw them the fuck at you guys. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry if it was a lot of information, but again, I appreciate your time. Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take it easy.